Welcome to the Sustainable Success Show, where we share real-world ideas, strategies, and systems to help you build success that lasts in business and life. Each episode delivers practical insights you can apply immediately without burnout, chaos, or short-term fixes that don't scale. At the foundation is emotional intelligence and effective communication, how you lead yourself and how you connect with others across personalities, generations, and cultures, because that's where trust, engagement, and performance are created. I'm Christopher Salem, your host, and this is where sustainable success becomes your competitive advantage. Hi, welcome to Sustainable Success. I'm your host, Chris Salem. Hope everyone is having a great week. I am so excited again for this year, how this show has really helped so many people. We're getting a lot of feedback from all of you that you're loving the video format in conjunction with the audio format, since we went to video also back in January of 2026, our new format, since for almost over 8 years we had been an hour-long show, strictly audio, and we had started back 8 years ago as a live radio show. Yes, the only way you could hear us is if you heard us live, and then eventually it became a podcast and so on. So we want to thank our dedicated listeners that have been through the journey with us now for almost 9 years. We're coming up on 9 years very shortly here. And we are excited also for you new listeners that you found us here. And again, you can listen to us here on YouTube, the video portion at Christopher R. Salem, and on Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, as well as iHeart. And we also encourage you to follow us on our Facebook page at Sustainable Success 2017. Again, there we've had many of our great guests sharing their words of wisdom and insights to help elevate you and your business to the next level. Today's show, again, is being brought to you today by Alumni Direct. Alumni Direct is a social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types and an opportunity to meet new people for the first time. Now, it is a membership program taking out all the noise out of social media. You get to generate genuine and authentic relationships with the people you choose to interact with. If you'd like some more information about Alumni Direct, check them out at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. We have an exciting show. We're going to be talking about buying and selling value. Yes, let that word stick in your head, value. A lot of times we speculate and assume what value is. We're going to know what the true meaning of value is when it comes to business, especially for those that are in commercial and residential real estate as well, but this could apply to anyone. And we're going to be here today with Guffy Wright, and a little bit about Guffy. Guffy has spent 2 decades advising multifamily operators who control $250 million in real estate value, and he noticed something most of them get totally backwards: how they scale. The operators who move the quickest aren't the ones with the best deals or most capital. They are the ones who figured out there's a line item on their P&L that's quietly eating their equity, and they've learned how to turn it into a competitive advantage instead. And that item is insurance. And Guffy has built a 100 million plus practice group in the Mahoney Group around, showing that when operators understand how insurance affects cap rates, NOI, and lender negotiations, it changes what their buildings are worth and how fast they can move on acquisitions. He has pioneered tools like the cap rate insurance calculator and lender waiver process that his competitors haven't been able to replicate. Now, a little bit of the background about Guffy. He is a college dropout that he had been making, $36K a year, and what he has done since then is just such a credible story that he is going to share about around value that he's going to share with us today. And without further ado, we welcome Guffy Wright to the show. Guffy, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Yes, a pleasure to have you. We always like to start off, Guffy, with, here at the show, with what you're going to share about buying and selling value, kind of like the backstory, where it came from, your evolution to where you define value and what you're doing right now to kind of not only share value in the Mahoney Group and what you're doing, but just helping other business leaders really redefine value and why we should be now doing business on value, not just on price, and amongst other things.
Yeah. Before I get into that, I just want to talk about value. You've brought value to so many business owners for almost 9 years now. You're one of the OGs when it comes to podcasting. So I would definitely want to acknowledge that. And I do think if you're listening to this, it's valuable to give Chris 5-star rating here and share it with your friends. So my journey, yes, started. I got married young at age 22 and dropped out of college and just started dialing for dollars, right? But I learned early on, Chris, that even if I was the cheapest price, I didn't always win. And there was one time specifically, I was $150,000 cheaper on insurance premiums, and I didn't win that account. And that really, hit me hard, broke some confidence a little bit too, but it helped me understand that value is always in motion.
Yeah.
It's not on a slide deck. It's not a title. It's constantly moving. Like I use the example a lot of, what's more valuable, an 8-pound diamond or a gallon of water? Well, if you're in the desert for 7 days, what do you think's more valuable? And so different timing, different perspectives for different people, value is constantly in motion. And that's how I started kind of my value journey. And as soon as I solved that a little bit of value, what's quantified and felt, then we got to another roadblock, which is even when value is clear, sometimes it's hard to make decisions. And that comes from emotional friction.
I love the fact with the emotional friction. And can you elaborate on that? Because I'm an EQ expert. I speak at a lot of industry conferences on EQ and communication based upon different personalities, generational types, and culture connected types. But I always love to hear, because I always find that a lot of times that if we don't pick up on that, that can, impact our relationships or even our, what we're doing in business.
Yeah, and there's a lot of human psychology research out there on why deals stall, but there's not a lot. There's a lot of persuasion or influence tactics on how to get people to get around that, but there's not a lot out there on how to just remove the
Yeah.
emotional friction. And to answer your question, the biggest issue we see with value and emotional friction is cognitive. People are just confused, perceived on, hey, everything's the same. What's the differentiation? It's hard to be aggressive when you're confused. So the
Yeah.
first emotional friction is confusion. And the second, in my experience, is relational. You have to break up with a vendor, or, hey, this person I've used for 10 years, or, there's a lot of relationship friction there. And then the third is directional. How is this going to help me in the future? Or having buyer's regret is a big one,
Yeah.
or moving. So those are the three big pieces that kind of build on each other. So they have to be removed piece by piece in order to truly let value do its thing.
Yeah, and I love what you said there, because a lot of times, like when you factor in certain types of people, this can be based upon even personality, different personalities or different generational types. They may hang on to something like you said, like a relationship, because this is who we've always worked with. It's always been done this way. And yet we may not be able to let go because we're afraid we're going to hurt them or hurt their feelings. Meanwhile, it's not serving us forward, type of thing.
Yeah, and it's true what you said, because I lose or win deals a lot against trusted advisors. So these are people you like and trust, but there's an alignment piece there that causes some drift,
Yeah.
that you have to capitalize on if you're advising business owners. But also, if you're a business owner and you're making these key high stakes decisions, you've got to remove the emotional friction so the value becomes clear, so you can do your best work.
Share with us, with Guffy, with you, what your experience, what would be some things? Because I always say, when it comes to communication, I can never control what someone's going to perceive what I said. I can ask questions, open-ended questions to get, alignment, to make sure there's no assumption and speculation, but I still can't control their perception. What have you learned that you could share with our listeners about removing that emotional friction, whatever you can control from your end, and leaving thus knowing that we can't control what the other person's going to do?
Control is an illusion. So let me tell you, in my experience, what I've learned is, in the sales process or the advisory process, you ask any salesperson, and business owners can think about this too, when are you the most vulnerable in your sales process? And I think that's a good thing to evaluate. However, I would argue that regardless, you're vulnerable until they say yes
Yeah.
and until they pay the bill. So knowing that, why not just lean into that on an advisory side in a high stake situation and say, you pay the bill, you're in control. You get to decide how we do this. This is what I would do if I was in your decision. And I teach that skill to our 70 salespeople. I call it detachment.
Yeah.
And detachment is not apathy. It's the highest form of professional empathy. Now, it's super hard if you're an advisor and you have a 6 or 7 figure commission on the line, but that means it's even that much more important. And so, I think about like the person that has the ability and power to say no is going to have all the power or most of the influence. I don't know if anyone's ever gotten on one knee and asked their wife to marry them, but it feels pretty good until she hesitates, right? And you're like, whoa, we're doing this, right? And so whoever can say no has the power. I mean, we've built prisons in other countries. So because a lot of these people have the ability to say no, it's a powerful thing. So why not lean into that and say, this is what I would do if I was in your decision. This is what I would do if I was you. Some people are afraid to do that, but if you have the value, what are you afraid of?
It's true. So what would you recommend for some people? Because, there are going to be some people listening here. Again, they have different experience levels. Some are more confident than others. Again, different personality, generational types here that listen to, and there's going to be that variety. Like, what would be something we could share to get them to kind of now think that they can't just operate always from what they know? Like, they have to be aware that maybe if I do it the way you're proposing, this could be something that can now work for me, not normally against us. Where now we're striving for more of that alignment with the value that we're giving.
Yeah. So I take this in kind of 3 levels. The first I call commission breath, which is what every single new salesperson has, and they're desperate in a lot of ways. And so I've experienced that as well. I mean, I was young, like you said, dropped out of college, married, calling, I had commission breath. The second level, and this is kind of when I identified it, is when you actually have confidence and you are clear about who your ideal client is, then all of a sudden you turn people away and then everybody wants to work with you. It's the weirdest thing when you're just kind of like, hey, I only work with so and so, and then they still want to work with you. And I thought that is interesting. Well, the third level is the highest form of professional empathy. Like, even if you don't go with me, this is what I would do if I was you. And what that does is, we talked about emotional friction, that brings down the nervous system, where now safety and truth telling can become a natural flow between each other. Because I learned, Chris, that I had a prospect call me. They said, hey, I'm closing on a property in a week. It was a $50 million acquisition. And they said, hey, my guy has screwed it up. I need help. And so, just out of practice, I said, well, I'll help you. I can get this done, but I need to know everything. There's nothing you can keep from me. And he said, deal. And then I realized that allowed me to do my best work. And it got the better result than he was even expecting. And I thought, interesting. What if I could create this environment of safety and where this trust and openness can flow?
Love it. The transparency.
Do our best work, right? Yeah.
Love it.
You can't get there if you care more about your commission than you do about that person.
It's so true. I love what you just shared there, because you created a psychologically safe zone, not enabling. Like I said, you're not enabling them. You're not pleasing them. You did it through empathy, which empowers them to say you can come out of your comfort zone. And again, there's no guarantees, but yet if you are transparent, I'm going to do my best to make this as seamless as possible to correct this situation. So that he believed you, that he had enough rapport and trust in you that you could do this. And when you did fulfill it, obviously he respected you even more, as a result of it. Yeah, I love it. Share some more insights, because I think that is such an important skill set to develop with people, especially for this audience. Again, not everybody here is going to be in real estate, but just across in business acquisitions, buying businesses, just it does not matter. I love what you shared there. If you could expand further on that.
Yeah. And before each meeting, because I am not a natural empath, like at all. So you talk about it being a skill. I believe
You're
that.
a results oriented guy. You're like the type of guy. Give me the results, less detail. That's the type. I picked up on that.
Correct. And so that's what I constantly, my natural, tendency is to do.
Yeah.
And so it is a skill though that is important to be developed, is just leaning into the vulnerability and being empathetic,
Yeah.
and in leadership and in your, relationships and things like that. But it's important to attach to their best interest and detach from any individual deal. And that does not mean you're not ambitious. It does not, it actually gives you clarity on your ambition, because when you're attached to something, reality gets distorted and you start acting crazy. And people can sense that. And that really, really,
It's everything. Like you said, I don't think they realize it consciously. I can see it because I'm an expert in this area. I pick up on body language, eye contact, mannerisms, energy, sensory acuity. But like you said, just somebody just feels like something's off. I don't know what it is, but something's off.
it's this authenticity thing. I mean, even juries of your peers, they can tell if you're not being authentic. They'd rather you go up there and say, yeah, I'm a dirtbag, but I didn't break the law. And then they'll resonate with that more than, somebody that's not authentic.
Yeah.
But I would lean into that if I was advising business owners, if I was in any high stakes situation, try to get to the psychological safety zone where you can truly just tell the truth. And that, so value is not distorted. And then it goes to the next piece. So I go value, vulnerability, and then the third V in my decision-making framework is validation, which I think is the most misunderstood concept in business. It's not agreement. It's not accommodation. It's respect, reinforcement, seeing somebody. So a client could tell me, hey, Guffy, this is all great. Let me meet with my team in a week and decide what we're going to do. Validation sounds like this. I think that's a really good idea, that you should meet with your team and make sure that you guys are clear about this decision. Do you mind if I send you a client list beforehand? And also I could maybe share with you a couple testimonials as you guys make your decision. Well, of course they're going to say yes. And because of that, I'm trying to remove buyer's regret before it surfaces.
Yeah.
And that's what validation does in a advisory sales process. When we're talking about millions of dollars of premium here. So it's very sophisticated buyers, but at the same time, you have this emotional friction that gets even higher and higher because people can lose their jobs if they make the wrong decision.
Absolutely. Especially when you're talking about that amount of money. And I think what you shared is so important. I'm hoping listeners, again, you're taking note. We want to encourage everybody, what Guffy's saying, go back and listen to the show again, record it, use AI, whatever you like, to transcribe it. There's a lot of golden nuggets in here. And again, you're going to be getting Guffy's contact information here later in the show. So stick around. But again, I wanted to plug everybody. Make sure to listen to this show again. There's lots of valuable insights. What else could you share with us, Guffy, when it comes to, establishing value? And it would value be like a process. It's not like a one-time thing. We got to be able to like initiate it and then nurture it. And even after the business deal is done, the transaction, or even though I don't like that word transaction, but let's just say you came to an agreement with something, but the value continues on after that. It's ongoing. If you could kind of elaborate to that.
Give value on the spot. Every opportunity you have, just give it away. In every aspect, whether you're prospecting, whether they're a client, whether they're a future client, the more value you give, the more you receive. And I was recently in an in-person training with Dr. Robert Cialdini, who wrote the book Influence. And one of his principles is reciprocity. Yeah. And so if that just becomes part of your identity and not a tactic, that's how you can always add value to your people, your vendors, your clients, everybody. It's through reciprocity.
I agree. And what I love what you said, it becomes part of your identity. You're choosing a different identity. Not that you're being somebody you're not. It's just the next phase or evolution of who you are. And that becomes part of your identity. So it doesn't come across as fake. Like, anybody can fake and pretend. But it becomes, like you said earlier, it's transparent, it's genuine, and people pick up on that. Like whether if they know it or not or don't, or don't understand sensory acuity, they can still understand that I trust this guy. I don't know why, I just do, and more likely to get buy-in as you go through each step of the process to get to the agreement.
Yeah. And I think on value, don't just look at, yes, look at your price that factors in into the value, but really what are you getting on your worst day with what you're buying? I think is a good way to frame it. And then also, if you're in the multifamily space, you can use insurance as a lever to pull to increase your value in a lot of different ways because every $15,000 you save on your insurance premium gives you $250,000 of value to either pull out in loan proceeds or in an appraisal at a 6% cap rate. And so that's what our practice group, that's what we've built our practice on and focusing on, turning insurance into equity. And there's, 20 or 30 different ways we do that. Just depends on the situation in your portfolio and how you're planning to scale your business.
Oh, that's fabulous, and that's something that could be, I guess, a really another topic in itself. And again, we are going to encourage anybody where if that hit you somewhere, you're going to want to get in contact with Guffy after this show because that again is some valuable. A lot of times, people don't understand insurance to the level they have this perception of what it is, but not everything they think it can do, and how it can be very helpful in their business. Love it. In terms of value, like where would you say, Guffy, like somebody listening right now is going, wow, this has just been, so far 20 minutes of just like golden nuggets here. They're not going to be able to do all these things at once. Where does it start? Is there an area you recommend they start and then like start to implement one piece at a time, getting better at it, not trying to master it all at once?
Clarity, get really clear on what you value and why you value it. Then ultimately you get to that safety. So clarity, safety, and direction of value, I think is going to allow you to do your best work and really evaluate what you value and why. And some things actually may surprise you. I valued price. I was selling commercial lines as if I was buying my own personal lines. Well, here I am making 30 or 40 grand a year selling to people that are making millions, thinking all they care about the same things I care about. So what does your customer actually care about on their best day and on their worst day, and then build back from there?
Wow. Great advice, and I agree, clarity is everything, and, we have to be nobody can make us clear. That's up to you. You have to choose what's gonna help to keep your mind in the moment. I love what you shared earlier. I mean, always detach from the outcome. It's not that I don't see the prize, but I detach and I focus on the process. I commit to my intentions because I can control that. I can't control expectations tied to other people and situations. I got to work with the puzzle pieces I have right now and trust the process that it will complete the puzzle, as I'd always like to use that analogy. Love what you shared there. As we get towards the end of the show, we still have about 4 minutes, of course, but I want to make sure if there was anything that you have not covered that you feel on your heart that is necessary to kind of connect all the dots to all this great insights that you shared with us today.
But just say that value is always in motion, what you value and what your customers value. And if you can't state that in one sentence in the middle of the night when I throw water on you, you don't understand, you don't have the clarity necessary that is needed as we go to the future where value is going to win at a significant level.
Yeah. Wow, just great, great wisdom there. I love what you're sharing. First of all, I want to thank you personally, Guffy, taking the time out of your schedule to be with us here today. This has just been, now I'm kind of wishing we had an hour like we did with our old format because I have so many other things. So we're definitely going to have you on another future show here at Sustainable Success because just a great, great insights from you. Want to thank you personally, also the rest of the team here at Sustainable Success. We want to let you know now, we want the audience to know how can they get in contact with you, what are you up to, and anything that you'd like to share or provide them.
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. We'll respond to any message there on LinkedIn. And that's where I put out a lot of content about decision making and specifically about high stakes and insurance. I'm in the middle. I just signed a a publishing deal, so I'm excited. But the book's going to launch at the end of this year, and it's called Decision Velocity.
Love it.
And I know you've written books, and that first book, Nothing Forces Clarity Like a Book.
Oh yeah.
Especially someone that's not a natural empath that's now putting himself out there. I can barely even sleep, but those are kind of what I have going on, and just in hyper growth mode, but trying to not be attached to any individual outcome.
Love it. And make sure when that book is getting closer to its publish date, launch date, let us know. We'll make sure to put that out to our listeners and put like a link so this way they can either pre-order on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, wherever you're going to be, where the book will be available.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. And we encourage everybody, please reach out to Guffy. We'll make sure, again, all the information will be in the show notes. So no matter if you are listening on YouTube or Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, and also iHeart, all of that information to get in contact, Guffy will be there. For any reason you reach out to us, we'll make sure to connect you directly to him as well. And again, we want to thank you again, Guffy, for being here with us today.
I enjoyed it, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And listeners, we want to thank you each and every week joining us here at Sustainable Success. Again, we are committed to bringing in subject matter experts like Guffy in each and every week, sharing their words of insights and experience to help elevate you and your business to the next level. If there is content that we have not covered, which is hard to believe over almost 9 years, but if so, feel free to reach out to our team at chris@sustainablesuccess.net, and we will see about including that on a future show and aligning with the right expert that can share their insights to help elevate you in that particular area. Till then, everybody, have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next Friday here at the same time, 12 noon East Coast time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Till then, have a great rest of your day, and take care.